Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 35th edition of the International Documentary Film Festival here in Munich, in our new special edition DOK.fest at home, in our section Horizonte. We will see the film A Tunnel by Nino Orjonikidze and Vano Arsenishvili. Hello Nino, hello Vano. Nino and Vano are in Georgia. So how are you doing right now? Are you on a lockdown as well?
Oh, yeah, kind of. We don't go to work, and after 9 o'clock we have a curfew, but otherwise, as everybody else, yeah, we can go out, but only before 9 p.m.
Now, for a filmmaker, a filmmaker normally doesn't really go to work. So are you using the time now for projects? Are you writing, researching, editing? What are you doing?
Since we are also lecturers and we are actually lecturing online, but also we are developing one new project. Actually, we are doing it already, but using some distance technology.
Cool. Cool. You have your projects always, I say, they are focused on something which has to do with space also, no? It's called The Bridge, a platform, a tunnel. So how do you approach your projects? What does it need for you to want to make this film?
So basically you are right, and this project as well also started because of our interest in the landscape. And when we started, we had no idea it will develop like this, it will develop like snowball. And we actually had no idea that so many Chinese will come to the place and that it all will change so drastically. What we were fascinated with in the beginning was this gorge and remote village and this old platform, which really took was very interesting for us. And then then it all started.
Filming in your film, filming itself is a big issue. The people always say, somebody come here, film this. So were you like, how did you participate as a body in this whole process, in this dynamic?
Mm-hmm. Maybe Vano can, since he's a cameraman, and maybe he can develop this.
Since we were filming this project about 6 years, after some times the villagers starting to know us and to know that we are making a documentary and it will be not shown on TV next day. So they starting to relax and to work with us. And it was then after some times, after 1 year maybe, it was easier for us. And as our crew was really little, so we were 2 or 3 people in the crew, like me and Nino, and one sound man or sound woman. And they starting to somehow cooperate with us, and they have no issues anymore. But there were some problems with Chinese to film because we were not allowed to go closer to them, closer to this site where they were building this tunnel. And we decided somehow to use this distance as artistic approach, but still we have our 2 or 3 hour materials where we talking with them and asking them the permission, but unfortunately we could not get.
How did you get the permission to film inside the tunnel?
So we have very little shots inside the tunnel. Mostly we are outside. Actually, the concept of the tunnel came at the very last stage when we kind of already edited the whole film. We were more concentrated on a platform which throughout 6 years they were planning to destroy it, deconstruct it, and therefore this platform was our main focus of interest.
Mm-hmm.
But by the end we realized that it's actually this tunnel, not real actual tunnel, but this tunnel is more like a creeping animal which goes
it's like a monster underground, right?
And nobody knows.
And the earth cracks up and the people see, oh, the earth is cracking and everything is changing.
Yeah, so basically, we kind of metaphorically also use this concept of a tunnel, you know, and we end up actually in the black tunnel because this is how it kind of developed for us.
Mm-hmm. So how is the situation right now? I mean, is it finished? No, or is it, how is the working going on? And another question, was there also a conflict, also not only between the people from there and the Chinese, but the Georgians working there with the people from the villages? So how did this develop?
Georgians working, do you mean Georgian workers or? No. Basically, workers that were employed by Chinese on the sites, they were living around. So basically, they are kind of villagers, maybe not from that particular village, but from nearby area. So they are kind of
a problem. Was there ever a inner cultural problem between Georgians from there, from the village, and the Georgians who worked there?
Not that much, no, not that much. Mostly it was like a problem between Chinese and villagers and workers. Like more kind of cultural clash and misunderstanding and miscommunication rather than between Georgians.
Mm-hmm.
But between Georgians, I would say more kind of government and decision makers and workers and villagers, like, if we can have these two sides, then these are the two sides.
Yeah, because sometimes, of course, the conflict is Chinese-Georgian, but sometimes when something from a foreign place comes suddenly in and turns everything upside down, then the hegemony or the structure, the social structure of this kind of village and the own cultural structure often also starts cracking.
And I would say it's kind of administration and management, and from high social, like from governmental perspective, how it's communicated to their own people. It's all has become evident that people are not informed, that all these structures are not functioning properly. These kind of things. And of course, there were kind of inner problems between maybe neighbors, because like whose house will be destroyed, who will survive, but we did not really concentrate on that.
So, and how was it for you as a director of photography, Vano? How did you decide on aesthetics?
So as Nino told already, we were fascinated with this gorge because there is no proper road in this gorge, and it's very authentic. So the main buildings are built even not in Soviet times, but before that, so during the Russian Empire, and so like this building of the platform and also the old tunnel, all these buildings are built by Tsar Nikolaus, and it was really interesting place and really kind of authentic place. And also because it's gorge and it's surrounded by mountains, there were endless possibilities of shooting this gorge from mountains, from up down or down up. And it was really interesting place and interesting people. And some mystic place, I would say.
Absolutely. And it's so beautiful that it starts with this old woman talking about the spirits.
This character, so when we met with her, it was also really important for us because she put to us this mystic fairy tale layer.
Yeah. How is the situation right now with the tunnel?
So basically, it is at the moment as we left it almost 1 year ago, because actually the whole problem is that where initially they planned to go through, they could not go through that place because of landslides and because there was no proper geological research done before the project was developed. And therefore it was suspended for a while, and now those who were waiting for the removal and for change for 6 years, now they are kind of left alone, and now the other side of the river, the project is developed through the other side, but there is still a confusion because very, very difficult geological situation there. So we don't know now where exactly the tunnel will take us.
So there are several things coming up. Right now, the political situation changed between China and America. And the second thing is, how does the COVID-19 affect it?
COVID-19 actually affected it quite a lot because in February, during the Chinese New Year, where Chinese workers are leaving Georgia and going back to China, they were planning to come back, but because of this COVID thing, many of them could not actually come back. And those who came, there was quite a clashes on the side, not that particular site, but some other sites where other Chinese are also building, because there was this fear. But that situation changed, because then it was not only Chinese who could be infected, but the whole world. So this kind of faded out, but of course it affected very much the project, which anyway had so many obstacles, but now COVID-19 amplified it quite.
Yeah. There is one moment where one of the workers says, it's hell in the tunnel. How comes that the research, or that all these working conditions are so extremely bad? I mean, and now you say the geological research hasn't been done well. How can it be that a project with that magnitude is started without having the things properly done? What is that? How do you explain that?
This is how things are very often done, I think, on higher political level, when politicians just want things to be done overnight. And actually it has started during previous government in 2011, when they said, oh, we need this transformation, we need this speedy road here. And then the documents has changed 3 times. I don't know, sometimes, we have this facade, big changes, but facade changes, and which are not grounded on the proper research, and then just ordinary people suffer. And you mentioned the working conditions in the tunnel. Yes, there were many casualties throughout the construction process, and there were also workers who died on the sides, from both sides, Chinese side as well. So unfortunately, these labor conditions are quite difficult.
Could you make up some political heritage between the Chinese, who come from a communistic system, and the Georgians, who have also lived the Sovietic system? Was there a kind of connection, or is this completely 2 different worlds?
I think it's still completely two different worlds, but there is no chance, actually. The thing is, there is no chance to discuss or communicate at any level with each other. So it's difficult to understand whether there is something common in between or not. But as a political system, I think it's still quite different.
Mm-hmm.
It's still quite different, and there is difficulty to understand each other.
Because all these workers' strike problems or so, or their reivindications were like very Western. I'll call it Western now, just to label it in a whatever way. And the Chinese are like these machines in block who work. And the Georgian society was like, no, we do have rights and we have to discuss that. And it was much more like an individual, no, not an individual, but like, how you say, Gewerkschaften, well, they were organized, no? Like organized workers who are saying, well, we have to discuss this, no? And this discussion culture in the Chinese culture isn't there at all. That you could feel very clearly in the film.
Yeah, but there is also, of course, these workers were organized by workers' union.
Exactly, union. That was the word.
Yeah, yeah. That makes difference. But also, it would be unfair to somehow judge now Chinese as well, because we also don't speak Chinese, and maybe their approach is very individualistic. But we don't know because we never had access and we never had a chance to see this whole thing through their perspective. But it's not our choice.
Of course.
It's the condition that we had to work with.
Of course. How was the time in the editing room? I mean, was there a surprise between, I mean, when you start this project and you have in mind, well, we're going to do a film about this, and then suddenly things turn out and you start discovering things. Was there a bigger surprise for you to find out what the film was really about? Or was it clear from the beginning?
Yeah, maybe as Vano was the main editor, it would be easier for him to answer. But I just, before he says, what I personally discovered was a concept, how we can visually, as a visual concept, use the tunnel in the beginning and end of the film. This idea came really at a very, very late stage. Because as I said, we always thought that our kind of main concept is around the old railway platform and not the tunnel itself. But maybe Vano has also some interesting discovery.
I agree, and in a way, because we are a really small team and we're working on the shooting side and then editing ourselves, it was, sometimes it was discovery, but not such big one that we somehow discover new scenes or something like that. But the process, so rewriting process, I think was there, and we have somehow fine-tuned our ideas, what we already have, I think, during the shooting period, because during the 6 years we have the opportunity to go to editing room in a while, so like 3-4 times in a year, and see what we have done. And it was like process, the simultaneous process, like shooting and editing somehow.
So it's collecting images, organizing them, collecting again, organizing them, and so you go shooting, editing.
Yeah, but we waited. So if there were some things we wanted to try to edit earlier, but the editing stage was separately as well. So really editing and writing the editing on the paper, it was after we finished the shoot. All
right. Well, thank you very much. I hope things turn out good for you, for your next project. I hope COVID doesn't lock you down too heavily. And I also wanted to say that this film is nominated for the Audience Award donated by the German Public Television and Dreisat. So please vote for the film if you want to give it a chance to win the Horizonte, the Publikumspreis. It's also nominated for the Horizonte Prize, of course. And well, don't be a stranger, keep in touch, stay in touch, and come back. Thank you very much.